Welcome back to another video, and we'll be reacting to 20 signs you are bad at Clash. Yo, I'm not bad at Clash Royale, bro. I'm not bad. This is it. This is like the final time, man. I'm not bad. I'm Arena 20. I'm very good. Subscribe to my Twitch. Subscribe to my YouTube. Like the video. Let's start with this video.
From rage quitting after losing a match to playing random decks with no synergy, here are 20 signs that you are probably bad at Clash Royale. Get ready because this might be a reality check for you. You leak Elixir. Leaking Elixir while your opponent is actively playing is one of the biggest signs of a bad player. You're putting yourself at an Elixir disadvantage by doing that. This gives your opponent an opportunity to build a huge push, which you won't be able to defend later on. So don't just sit around doing nothing and let your opponent 3-crown you. You are constantly switching between decks. If you're constantly on search for the best deck, chances are that you're probably bad at the game. By switching decks frequently, you're not doing the single most important thing needed to master the deck. Practice! If you're changing your decks after a few losses, you're not practicing a certain deck enough to be good at it. Stop looking for the best decks on YouTube and actually practice the one you're currently playing. You always blame hard counters for a loss. Another sign.
Nah. Sometimes you just gotta fight through it, bro.
Sign of a bad Clash Royale player is that they will always find an excuse to blame matchups for their loss. Instead of thinking what they could have done differently to win, they write off their losses as being hard counters. While some matchups are indeed bad, a lot of them can be won if you actually play well and learn from your mistakes. You can't win despite being over-leveled. At this point, you should just quit the game.
Actually just quit the game. If you're at like level 15 everything in Arena 20, like the last guy I faced, bro, please quit the game.
Can't beat players while being over-leveled? You belong in the category of worst players ever. You probably play a no-skill deck with zero synergy and are incredibly bad at the game. If you're still stuck in mid-ladder, losing to under-leveled opponents, it's time to hang it up. For real. You overcommit Elixir too much. This shouldn't really come off as a surprise. It's one of the biggest things that differentiate good players from bad ones. Overcommitting Elixir on offense or defense can lose you the game from even winning positions. You need to make sure you're only spending as much Elixir as is actually needed. Spamming cards as soon as you hit the required Elixir count will leave you vulnerable and low on Elixir. Your opponent can eventually 3-crown you, and you won't have Elixir to stop them. You play a random deck with no synergy. A bad player will always use cards that have zero synergy between them. For example, you shouldn't use both Witch and Wizard in a single deck, as they offer two...
The first deck I ever got out of her, I think I got to Arena 17 with it. Bro, it was a freaking deck with Wizard, Witch, Prince, Dark Prince, and just Fire Spirit, Heal Spirit, Electro Spirit, and Arrow, I think. That was what yo. Like, it was like, I don't even know what.
Much spell value to the opponent. Similarly, you need to have proper spells like Earthquake or Log to pair with the Hog Rider so you can instantly kill buildings and swarms. These are just a couple of examples, but in general, all your 8 cards of the deck should synergize really well with each other to create a game-winning strategy. Want to know if your deck is good? These are just a couple of examples, but in general, all your 8 cards of the deck should synergize really well with each other to create a game-winning...
That's like a Goblin Giant, like, there's gotta be a troll, right? Okay.
Strategy. Want to know if your deck is good? Comment down your deck below and give opinions to others as well. You spend more time BMing than actually playing. Remember that one cocky player you...
Wait, let me actually see what... Let me see what they have. AI generated script. Yo, nobody sent a deck. Nobody sent a deck. Absolutely nobody sent a deck. Okay.
Beat who was BMing you so much?
Yeah.
It was satisfying, right? Of course it was. BMing constantly just shows how bad you are at the game. Not only do you lose respect from your opponent...
BMing is not really... It doesn't show you how bad you are at the game. It just means that you're BM. You're just BMing.
But if you're BMing constantly, you can actually drop focus yourself and end up losing the match. If you prioritize BMing over playing strategically, you're definitely a bad player. You fail to adapt to the meta. If you aren't free to play and still are not adapting to the meta, then you're not just a bad player. You're a horrible player. Playing a deck which is bad in the meta and then expecting to win is stupid. Instead, focus on playing cards which are really good and can actually win you games. Adapt to the meta and learn new strategies. Your favorite deck might not work forever. Playing dead cards is a great way to go on a losing streak. Don't think that you'll survive in a meta full of Pekka and Mega Knights with your poor Golem. You rage quit a lot during games. If you rage quit every time you lose a tower, you're never going to improve. The best players learn from tough matches, even when they're losing.
He's become more mature.
Rage quit is a sign of a weak mentality, something which will only make matters worse for you in Clash Royale. You don't learn from losses by watching replays.
Bro, I'm not watching myself, bro. I'm not watching myself play. I already know the outcome. Okay? Stop doing that. I'm not gonna watch myself play.
Find yourself asking, why are these pros so much better at the game than me? Then try to recall when was the last time you watched your own replays. You'll get your answer. Clash Royale has given you the best tool to improve your gameplay, the replay button, and the fact that it's so underused is actually crazy. Watch your replays and see what you could have done better. If you're not analyzing your replays, you're doing something wrong. You are constantly complaining. If you're constantly complaining about a card or a deck, it might be time to...
No. Really. Nerf that firecracker, bro. Nerf it.
Actually get better at the game, rather than complaining constantly about a certain card being too broken or a particular deck being no skill. Perhaps you need to adapt to your deck and playstyle. A lot of times, certain cards and decks are not broken. It's just that you aren't able to play well against them. If you spend less time complaining and more time learning how to play against those annoying cards or decks, you'll find more success in Clash Royale. You know how you can be even more successful in Clash Royale? By liking this video and subscribing to the channel. You don't mix up your playstyle mid-match. Bad players often overuse the same strategy throughout the match and expect the same results. If your opponent is smart, he can figure out your attacking and defensive patterns and will be able to predict them. You also need to adapt to your opponent's playstyle if you want to win. For example, let's say you're running Ice Bow. If your opponent is constantly...
You did not say Ice Bow. I know you said Ice Bow.
And defensive patterns and will be able to predict them. You also need to adapt to your opponent's playstyle if you want to win. For example, let's say you're running Ice Bow. If your opponent is constantly dropping a knight in the middle to block your X-Bow, you can recognize this pattern and drop a tornado next time to move the knight out of range. This will catch your opponent off guard and you can get a
King Tower though. Why'd you activate the King Tower?
much needed X-Bow lock. Similarly, with whatever deck you play, it's important to change your strategies mid-match so that you remain unpredictable. You overcommit to defend a lost tower.
Like, if you miss the arrows, you just gotta quit the game. Like, on the spot, you just gotta quit the game.
Many of you are probably guilty of this. Defending a low HP tower when its fall is inevitable is one of the dumbest things you can do in Clash Royale. Why waste your elixir for nothing when you can actually utilize it to build a push? Consider this scenario. One of your towers is in the opponent's spell range. You start building a Lava Hound push in the other lane with a few seconds left in the match. Your opponent drops a mini tank in the lane of your weak tower to take it down fully. But instead of doubling down on your already ongoing push, you waste your elixir trying to defend your low HP tower. Now you don't have enough elixir to build a strong final push, and your tower gets taken down by a spell anyways. You need to learn to sometimes just let a tower go. You don't punish your opponents. Below average players don't have the slightest clue of their opponent's elixir and don't know when to punish them. Their opponents can be low on elixir and they would do nothing about it. If you punish your opponents correctly, you can win the match in a single moment. But a lot of players don't know how to keep track of their opponent's elixir. Well, you don't need to do every bit of math in your head, but you should start to recognize the signs for when your opponent...
I know how to elixir count, okay? You need to
is low on elixir. These signs can be something like your opponent dropping a defensive card really late. Once you know that your opponent is low on elixir, go all in on offense. You panic under pressure. If you panic on seeing a big push coming towards your tower, you're showing signs of a bad player. Panicking in such situations will only make matters worse for you, as you won't be able to focus on defense properly. Remain calm and don't lose your cool during high-tension moments. Don't panic spam cards. Instead, use your defensive cards wisely with proper placements to ensure a flawless defense. You misplace your cards a
Good freaking defense, bro.
tension moments. Don't panic spam cards. Instead, use your defensive cards wisely with proper placements to ensure a flawless defense. You misplace your cards a lot. This is a common mistake of many bad players, whether it's missing a tornado to activate your king tower or failing to pull a hog rider with your building. If such misplays are frequently happening,
Nah, that's on you, bro. The Tesla? Why'd you put the Tesla on the opposite side? That's on you, bro.
you need to double down on mastering those interactions. Misplays are a big reason for losing a game, and knowing every card interaction can prevent a lot of them. You should either switch the card you're misplacing so frequently, or you need to master all its interactions. Is there a card you frequently misplace? Comment below. You don't know when to switch lanes. This is another important aspect of strategy in Clash Royale, which many players neglect. Knowing when to switch lanes is really important, as a single important decision like this can change the whole outcome of the match. You want to play the match on your own terms and force your opponent to play the way you want it. Changing lanes is the best way to achieve that. For example, if you're playing versus Graveyard, you never want to go the same lane as them because the counter pushes are devastating. Instead, start playing cards in the lane opposite to where they are pushing and force your opponent to switch sides. Even if you're higher up on damage in one lane, it's really important to switch lanes if you know your opponent can eventually overwhelm you, especially using Graveyard decks. You upgrade cards randomly, not upgrading cards in the right order or upgrading...
There was no need to show that. You just wanted to flex, huh?
Those cards which don't serve much purpose to your decks is a waste of resources. Don't upgrade cards which you know you might not use for a long time, or which are bound to get a nerf soon. As for upgrades within a deck, always upgrade your win conditions and main defensive troops first. Upgrading your Hog Rider is much more important than upgrading your Log or Skeletons. If you're a free-to-play player, you really need to prioritize upgrading your cards in the right order. You ignore your opponent's card cycle. Keeping track of your opponent's cycle is as important as managing Elixir well. If you remain clueless about what 4 cards your opponent currently has, you need to improve. Knowing about your opponent's cycle will help you punish them effectively and plan out perfect attacks and defenses. You can't drop a solo Hog Rider if your opponent has a Tesla in cycle every time. The result will be the same, and you will never break through. You don't have fun playing Clash Royale.
I can have no fun and still be good and still be bad at the game, bro.
If you're not enjoying the game, it's hard to play well.
Of course I'm not enjoying the game when every single person I go against is level 14.
Always be at your best if you're actually enjoying every match. Remember, Clash Royale is just a game. Relax, have fun, and don't take losses too seriously. So these were the 20 signs of bad Clash Royale players. How many signs did you get? Comment down
Thank you for watching. Wait, no. What am I saying?
below, and if you want to...
Thank you for watching and live life, bro. Live life.